it's Diederik Gelderman here. Welcome to the marketing month of June. Let me just quickly go through the 4 videos that I've got planned for you for this month. Today it's all about welcoming your client to the practice, setting the culture and setting the expectations. Next week we're going to talk about bonding your client. In week 3 we're going to talk about how to collect your client's email addresses smoothly, quickly, easily and painlessly. And then in the 4th week we're going to do an introduction to joint venture marketing. And if you say, what's JV marketing? Diederik, I don't know what that means. That's okay, park that thought. We'll talk about it in the 4th week. And then in July we're going to get you set up for August, for Pet Dental Health Month. Okay, so today it's all about welcoming your client and setting the expectations. Why would I even want to talk about that? Well, the fact is that in most practices worldwide, a good 12-month client retention rate is about 40 to 45%. So what does that mean? That means that for every 100 clients that come in your practice, this week or this month or this quarter or whatever, in 12 months' time, you'll have only kept 40 to 45 of those hundreds. That's a terrible attrition rate. Each new client coming in your door costs you a mozza. And I've had some videos that I've done before about working out how much it costs you to acquire a new client. You're going to refer back to those. We don't have the time to go through that today. But just trust me, it's costing you multiple tens of thousands of dollars to have that degree of practice churn. Now you can easily increase that client retention from 40% to 45%, from 45% to 50%. And with my really good coaching clients, we have it up to 80 to 85%, double the industry norm. So how do we create that? How do we do that? How do we double that industry norm? Well, there's a very simple process involved, and I'll give you all the steps of the process. And when you implement all the steps of the process, then you're going to get up to that 80 or 85%. But even if you implement 1 or 2 steps in that process, you'll hugely increase your client retention. Let me talk about the steps of the process. So the first step is to send them a very simple welcome to the practice email, the day that they came in, or at least within the week. But if your client comes in today, having them receive an email or an SMS, this afternoon would be just awesome and fantastic. Very simple, couple of lines. Thank you for the trust. We appreciate the fact that you had a choice as to where you went. Was great to meet you. Ever got any questions or any challenges? Let us know immediately and we'll fix them for you. So that's the simplest thing, and that works really well. Excuse me, my leg keeps falling off. Not falling off as in falling off, but falling off the other leg. The second thing is the welcome to the practice video. When you do a welcome email, and in that email you say that you've created a welcome to the practice video to welcome them to the practice, and you have that link in the video, you'll typically get about a 50% viewing rate of that video. And that's awesome if you get 50%. That video should be a 2, 3, 4 minute video. It should be a thank them for coming to the practice video, talk a little bit about the culture of the practice, those sorts of things. It's not a here I am, we're fantastic, this is everything we're going to do for you type video. No, it's not that at all. It's a welcome, thank you type culture building video. Now, step 3, and you want to do this within a week of them coming to the practice, is a welcome pack. A welcome pack is something they physically get in the mail. We rarely get good mail these days. We always get invoices and statements and things like that, typically from tax people and energy people and things along those lines. So getting a really nice packet, and I'm going to suggest you have a nice envelope. Maybe you even express post it, or you have a big yellow envelope that that looks like it's wanting to be opened, has some pictures of animals and whatnot on the envelope, all those sort of things that make it look really schmick. So in that welcome pack, you're going to include a number of things. A welcome to the practice letter that's personally signed by someone, and you just have to work out whether that letter comes from the practice owner or owners, whether it comes from the lead receptionist or the practice manager, or whether it's signed by the whole team. There's no right or there's no wrong. It just again sets up a different culture, the way that you frame and phrase that welcome letter. It must be personal. It must be personally signed. You know, maybe half of an A4 page at the most. Again, no opening hours and we take credit cards and this is our fancy equipment and all that sort of stuff. This is again a culture setting email, a letter. All those, you know, we take credit cards and these are opening hours and all those, you know, team commitments and all those sort of things, and the products and the services and all that sort of stuff. They go in a practice brochure, then, and certainly in that welcome pack, you're going to put a practice brochure, but you're not going to put all those things on the letter. So you've got the welcome letter, you've got the practice brochure. You're then going to have some fridge magnets, and 3 or 4 fridge magnets, and on that welcome letter you're going to have a PS that says, hey, if you've got any other friends that you believe can use veterinary services like ours, you know, you say friends, acquaintances, colleagues, you put in 2 or 3 examples of people or groups who they could give these fridge magnets to. Please feel free to please give out these fridge magnets with our compliments. And then the next thing is a recall device. So a recall device is something that's going to get them back into the practice within the next 60 days, 30 to 60 days, so that they get exposed to you again. They get to be exposed to that practice culture again and meet those lovely receptionists and nurses and vets, etc., etc. That may be a free hydro bath, it may be a free nail trim, it may be a free packet of food. There's also, it may be a complimentary health check for their pet. There's lots and lots and lots of different things that a recall device could be aimed at, all sorts of things. Now, with a recall device, I'm going to suggest that you target about a 65% redemption for dog owners and about a 40 to 45% redemption for cat owners. They're the minimum acceptable targets. Okay, so that's the welcome email, welcome video, or welcome SMS or email, whatever, welcome video, and then the welcome pack. And they've got to receive that pack, like I said, within a week. Now, you can automate all of this out of your practice software. You don't want to do this manually. You've got to set it up automated. And if you don't know how to do that, or if you'd like a hand doing that, give me a call and I'll help you do that over the phone. Now, as well as those things, within the first 3 or 4 or 5 days, that client should get a welcome email. And in that welcome email, obviously it's a bit longer than the first email, which is only going to be 1 or 2 sentences, and it's certainly longer than an SMS. In that welcome email, you're going to set the culture and the expectations for the practice. So you're going to talk about the practice culture, you're going to talk about the client's expectations, and a whole heap of things along that line. You're also going to tell them to look out for something in the mail. There's an exciting packet coming your way. That's obviously going to be the welcome pack. And you're also going to set up the fact that over the next 2 weeks, they're going to get 3 or 4 more emails. And these emails are going to be from people that have been in the practice for a long period of time and who set the culture and the frame for the practice. So that may be an email from the lead receptionist, the lead vet, the lead nurse, practice manager, whatever. And they're going to introduce themselves. So in those subsequent emails, actually, I'll talk about the subsequent emails in a minute. So we're still on this email that comes, 3 or 4 days after they've been. And in that email, you're going to say, look, over the next 2 weeks, you're going to get an email from, this person, this person, this person, this person. So over the next 2 weeks, all up, you're going to get another 4 or 5 emails from us. Don't think that this is going to go on forever. We simply want to welcome you, let you know what we can do for you, what you can expect from us, etc., etc. But after you get those 3 emails, you'll just get our monthly blog or our monthly newsletter, something like that. You don't want these people to think they're going to be hammered by you, 3 times a week for the next, 5 years. You want to just say, this is how we're going to get to know each other better. And then after that, you're just going to get the monthly newsletter, the monthly blog, and you'll get, if there's something special happens like snake seasons hits or ticks go crazy or fleas go crazy or there's a special new product release that's going to help your pet, you know, you'll get the odd thing like that as well, but certainly, you know, typically on a monthly basis. So as part of that welcome email, you'll also, now that welcome email needs to come from a real person and it needs to come from a real email address. Now, it shouldn't come from info@ABC Vet or reception at ABC Vet. And it shouldn't have your logo and hospital things plastered all over it. Yes, they can be there in a demure, low-key way, but this email needs to come from a real person, from a real email address. So it might be your personal email address that's been set up specifically for this, and maybe not the one that you use all the time in real life, but you'd use it for this, but it looks like it'll come from, you know, Michelle.Jones at ABC Vets or something like that. So it's a real personal email address, and certainly Michelle Jones would have an email signature, and there might be a little demure something from the practice there, but it's going to be a very personal email coming from a personal person. Now, does that come from the practice manager or the owner or what? That's for you to work out. Again, it depends on the culture of the practice. If it comes from the owner, then you're going to have a lot more people wanting to talk to the owner. If it comes from the practice manager, then the people are typically more want to talk to the practice manager. It could be someone called the director of first impressions or someone like that, or your client coordination supervisor. There's all sorts of ways that you can set this up. Now, as part of that email, what I'm going to ask you to do, I'm going to suggest that you do as well, is you're going to put a phrase in there. It might even be a PS that you hope that their visit today was, you might say, perfect or excellent or extraordinary. You want to set yourself up high goals, and you're going to say to them in that email that if your visit was anything less than perfect or anything less than you'd expected, or if it wasn't, you know, superb, that you want to know about it, and can they reply to this email and you'll do something about it. And on that email, you're also going to ask for a review, and you're going to send them to a review site. Now, you might have a review set up on SurveyMonkey or something on those lines. You might refer them to Yelp. You might refer them to Google Reviews. There's all sorts of places that you can refer them, and the more reviews that you get, the higher your website ranking will be, etc, etc, etc. So it's really, really good to start collecting reviews, and typically your new client reviews will be the wowest if you've done your job correctly. So then they're going to get, over the next 2 weeks, they're going to get some emails from, you know, long-term people at your practice, you know, people that have been there a long time. Like I said, lead vet, lead nurse, lead receptionist, whoever long-term people in your practice have been. And they're going to set up they're going to talk a little bit about their part of the practice, whether that's reception or whether that's the veterinary side, or whether that's the kennels or the surgery or whatever it happens to be. Talk a little bit about themselves and how long they've been there and why that's important for the, you know, you don't go, well, I'm fantastic. You may say, well, I'm fantastic, but you're going to have to say why that means something to you. You can't just say, well, I'm fantastic and leave it at that. It's got to translate into benefits for the client. So when you set that whole process up over a 2.5 week period, and then the client starts to get regular monthly email newsletters or blogs or whatever, you will put your client retention up to 80 to 85% over a 12-month period. So this stuff is all critical to retain your client, build culture, and set expectations. So now the ball's in your court, and you've got to start actioning. I'll see you next week. Bye.